hear myself through my headphones. Yes, man. Like, I feel real good about this right now.
Pay attention, because you are now listening to Permission to Speak Freely.
Hey, disclaimer, y'all. I'm here with Ashley. Hey, her camera might get blurry every now and then, man. But
that's how we're gonna kick it off.
yeah, but we here, man. We here. What's up, Ashley? How you been?
Hey, what's up, friend? I've been good. Oof. Life has been life, but life is good.
For real, life is. Last time I heard you, it was on a woman's episode, and it was. I don't even want to get into some of that stuff. It was a lot of emotional context.
Yeah.
This might not be the time for that. So, but it was it was a really good conversation, and we always have a good time when you come on here. So,
thank you. I always have a good time when I come on the show.
Yeah, man. I see you got the Maxwell gear on.
You know, this was my first one.
yeah, my guy. He put on a great show. So I'm rocking Gloria. I went to the Kendrick and SZA concert in the DMV a couple days ago. It was on Wednesday.
On a Wednesday? You went on a school night?
School night. You know, the next day was Juneteenth, so we ain't had to go to work.
That's true.
Chilling. I mean, speaking of school night, it was like some 9-year-old kids out there, 6-year-old kids out there.
Not at the SZA and Kendrick.
SZA and Kendrick, ready to sing Not Like Us, man. Ready.
So I got a question for you. Do you know how to crip walk? Not that it's no affiliation, but do you know how to do the dance?
I don't know how to dance, Ashley. I don't know how to dance. I got 2 left feet. Yo.
Come on, bro.
I do my arms like I'm crip walking.
Yeah.
I do my arms. But I got 2 left feet. It's funny that it's funny you asked that. That topic has never come up on this podcast at all. But I had 2 left feet since I was a kid, and I think they just implanted that in me. But yeah, I can't do it, yo. My wife tell me I could dance all the time, but
she like you.
She tell
me when you like somebody, you tell them, hype them up.
Yeah. She tell me I could cook. She tell me I look the same at 190 as I look at 250. You know what I mean?
That's a good woman. That is a good woman.
She's gassing me up heavy, yo. Hey, so I'm going to get a little bit into, for the listeners, if I sound like I'm a little bit off, it's because I was at the dentist. I had to get a crown in my tooth, but it's damn near so I got a filling in like my very back tooth. It was only like 25% tooth left, so it's damn near no tooth left.
You know,
I was getting along well with that, like 25%.
What teeth do you chew with?
So, and it's crazy because I don't even really chew back there a lot. Okay. But one day I one day a piece of tooth, kind of hit. I'm like, what the fuck? A piece of tooth came out. And then later when we was in New Orleans, I guess a piece of the filling came out. So I went to dental.
Eating.
What'd you say?
You was out there eating.
I think it's from drinking, yo. I be thinking like sugar and I don't know. But I be thinking like the sugar and alcohol cause wear and tear on, some of that stuff. And when you drinking all them sweet drinks and all that, that's what I think. You know what I mean? Okay. Not saying I've been over excessively, drinking alcohol.
We would never say that now.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would you say it?
You wouldn't.
But yeah, so I had to get a crown. So they had to pretty much take out the filling and like make a tooth so they could put something on there so they could put a crown on there. It was either that or a root canal. And I'm still, how they numb you up. I'm still kind of recovering from the little numb up. But I mean, all is well though.
You love doing this. You really got on here to do the show today.
Yeah. I mean, I knew you was going to be on here, Ashley.
It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I knew you was going to be on here. So, Father's Day was last weekend?
Yeah.
I guess I say that to say, hey, that's this hat, yo. This is a Father's Day gift, y'all. I normally got on some of my man AP Legendary 30, some GOAT, something from Legendary 30 or something. But my wife got me this, y'all, from Target, man.
I love it.
Father's Day, little Target Father's Day joint. Be good. You know what I'm saying? It's a little wrinkle right up here.
And it's okay. Like, just stretch it out.
It ain't cut like that, Ashley. It ain't gonna stretch.
You gonna let it just go. Why you just tell me to put a hat on?
It ain't. No, you don't need no hat. Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to bite your style today. I put on my Mac shirt because you had your Kendrick.
Yeah, and you got your bedazzle.
I was trying to. When I grow up.
Yeah. So, here's a crazy thing, right? Matter of fact, so here's a crazy story. So, this week we thought we had a 96 because of Juneteenth, right? So, hey, for whoever listening, that if you know me personally, I'm gonna just tell the story. Ain't nobody at fault. It's just a story. So, I go to this. It's an executive steering committee that I go to for the region on Monday. I went to it this Monday that passed, and so all of the CMCs are together. All the CMCs from the region, we kind of together. We break off into this meeting. Actually, Jay Walker, Fleet Walker came and he kind of talked to us too. I wish I could say anything he said, but you know how those conversations with fleets go. Like, you can't say none of it. You know what I mean? He said so. He dropped a couple bobs too, but can't say none of it. But so all the CMCs in the region, we at this like round table, we talking, and my regional CMC, she like, yeah, I'm taking leave on Friday, and me and one of the other CMCs, we like, well, why are you taking leave on Friday? She like, cause it's a regular work day. I'm taking leave because I got something. I'm like, no, it's not. And me and the other CMC, two CMCs was like, yo, we got a 96. And she's like, nah, that changed. So apparently SecNav had changed the order, and it can't be a 96 it's only 24-hour liberty for and it might not be SecNav, but it's probably higher authority down to SecNav, down a region, down to us. But it's 24 hours for Juneteenth. So we only had that one day. So it was just crazy because, mind you, that was Monday.
Yeah.
Juneteenth was. So I find this out on Monday. Come to find out, it was an email that went out in the middle of May that I never got. And apparently some of the other CMCs never got it either. So it's Monday, right? So I'm gonna just give you this whole story because it's I don't know, it's a little funny. So my CO's on leave that Monday. He gets back Tuesday, and I'm like, hey, sir, I need to talk to you about this Juneteenth, right? Because now I got this instruction. I got the instruction on Tuesday. And that also means that, hey, we got to tell our command that, hey, Friday is a work day. And when we send it out, we're going to send it out with this new holiday reference that's signed from like the middle of May that we just happened to get the week of the damn Juneteenth. So they just going to look at us like we not handling our business. You know what I mean? So I'm like, hey, sir, now I'm at the Naval Academy, and for grad week, our commissioning week, whatever you want to call it, for that week, our sellers don't take that 96. That's like Memorial Day weekend or whatever. So they don't take that 96. So I'm like, hey, we could always just package. We could like, because I was trying to figure out when I should send it, because I knew when I sent it, I was going to send off like people was going to start, going crazy, right? Like, damn, like this shit is like in 2 days. So I'm like, hey, so we could always just package it like, hey, we just going to keep the 96, but package it to make up for the Memorial Day weekend, the one that we lost.
Yeah.
Right? That would have been the easiest kind of way to do it. But and the guidance we got pretty much said you can't supersede a regional instruction or any other instruction when it comes to those liberty dates. So you can't do that. So yes, the CO got authorized on 96 whenever the CO wants, but not if it goes against a higher authority policy.
Yeah.
So he couldn't do it. I had like bad LTs at my command, like, well, what about Monday? Master Chief, can we slide it to Monday? I was like, nah, man, we can't touch this. Just come in. And then it was like a 4-hour thing. So you could either come in 4 hours late or you could work 4 hours and leave. That was kind of like the guidance that was in the policy. But I thought that was kind of crazy and funny. And I was also mad that I had to, go to work today.
Wait, so let me just get this straight. At one point, it was authorized to be a 96.
Yes, yeah.
All of a sudden, it just, in the middle of May, it was no longer a 96.
So that instruction, you know what happened, Ashley. Don't do that, man.
I ain't reading.
You know what happened.
Oh, I'm asking.
So that instruction that we put out, like our region put out, was signed from like August of the year prior, and then distributed in October, right?
Correct.
So that's all the holidays throughout the year, and then May hit, and this is in line with SecDef's recognition of cultural recognition and stuff like that. So that's kind of what that kind of falls into place with. So it changed after that change.
That makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone then, because I see where that's going.
Yeah, it ain't going to great places, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, so we lost it. But what about y'all? Did you have your 96?
I'm at home and I've been home. So I don't know if that was supposed to happen, but we definitely got a 96.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh. As long as you don't say your command name.
I was about to say, maybe no one will know where I work.
You should be fine, man. Hey, I want to shout out to the Nimmits. Nimmits on their way to the Middle East are there already there. Mm-hmm. We actually got a question from one of the listeners on the Nimmits, and Damon's on the Nimmits too. So yeah, shout out to Damon and the fight. Damon get a little bit more of fight in him before he go on to be a CMC at a squadron somewhere. You know what I mean? So he get a little bit more fight in him before that happens. Shout out to Damon. Hopefully you listen to the episode. Another thing, Ashley, before we get into, for the listeners, what we're going to do today is we got some Q&A, some questions from listeners. We're going to get into some of that stuff. Nothing too crazy. We ain't going to be here forever today. But Admiral Cotto got nominated to be the next CNO.
Okay.
I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he a good dude, smart dude, a good representation of the Navy. And I look forward to seeing where that goes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what the people want to talk about today, Damo?
Since we was on the Nimmits, since we just were talking about the Nimmits, let me give you something from the Nimmits real quick. So it says, and this is, I'm going to leave names out of this, I guess, but it says, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Not sure what time it is where y'all are at. Oh, well, his name in it. He says, my name is Adam. And I want to pose a question for your next mailbag post. I talked to Damon. Hey, Adam, I don't know what the mailbag post is, but I know you listen to the pod. So, like, it is whatever you think it is, though. It said, I talked to Damon about this one a little bit. How do you keep hey, Damon, he talked to you. It wasn't enough, bro. Because now he reached out to the pod, dog. So it says, I talked to David about this one a little bit. How do you keep a seller motivated to do their job when they are making more as entrepreneurs on the side while they are still in? More context to this, these sellers come TAD to my work center. A majority of them already plan to separate at EAOS and are senior in-rate nukes. Most of them just want to ride their last 18 months out on Easy Street. Then they get to me and I'm like, great, you already have your prerequisites for ESWAS. Let's work on that. Most of them are just like, what good is it going to do me on the outside? So that was his question.
Well, these are senior personnel, he said, specifically senior personnel. That's where it becomes like tricky for me, because when you're dealing with senior sailors or people who are older, what can you really do? If they are coming to work and they're telling you, hey, I'm only here to do what I have to do and go home, like, what can you really do about that? So I work with a lot of civilians and junior sailors, right? So I, for one, just try to get to know what it is that is their motivation and help them on that journey, right? While we're still getting our work done, but once they make that connection to you to where they know that you care about what their interests are, that's how you inspire people to want to even come to work. A lot of the people who work with me, they say it's not necessarily the work that makes them want to come, it's the environment. They love working in the work center because we're all talking and laughing. We like to share our common interests, and they are productive. And but on the same token, we have a high turnover rate with our civilians because they're not getting paid enough. right? The money isn't there. So when they leave and we're asking them, hey, what would make you stay? They're simply like money. Money is what people want and need. So sometimes it doesn't even matter what you do as the leader, right? You can make the perfect environment. You can give them everything that they're asking for. But if that does not align with what those people want to do with their life, you cannot make anyone do anything more than what they are required to do. So I would tell that individual, focus more on making the connection with those sailors or with those individuals and find out how to motivate them that way. What you think, Damo? Because how can you make a grown person do what they don't really want to do?
I mean, for his question though, right? So he says something like, how you keep a seller motivated to do their job when they making more money as entrepreneurs on the side when they still in. Man, ain't it like a rule? And I know this probably like executive level administrative hating, but ain't it a rule against making too much money or something? I was always told it was like a thing.
Yeah, where is that written though? But I heard if you hit the lotto, you have to get out the military. Like if you hit a certain amount of money, you have to go because what can we do with you?
I don't know how true that is though.
I don't either. I've never seen it in writing. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I see something that says if you're a non-career civilian or political appointee, review the 15% outside income limit under 5 CFR Part 2636. Well, we ain't about to get that in depth. We maybe should have researched, so that part of it. But I thought it was like a rule that like you can't make so much more money than how much you get paid. Okay. I guess that would be the first question is, is it a policy on that? And then, like I said, you're going to be executive level administratively hating if you go to that person and be like, yo, you can no longer, operate your business or whatever like that. And then especially if they already know that they're about to hit their EAOS and they're about to get out, they probably just not going to listen to you. You know what I mean? So I feel the same. The other part of it, I feel the same way as you. I feel bad. I need to look that rule up. Hey, for the listeners, if you're out there and you know the specifics with that, like please put it in the comments or somewhere. Let us know. Send us an email. I'm looking forward to that. But the other part of it is I've now kind of I'm gonna give you a little story, quick story. So we want a seller to come TAD at my command. Mm-hmm. The seller's parent command. I'm gonna just say it as kind of vaguely as I can. The seller's parent command, they have professional goals for the seller that the seller does not share. Mm-hmm. Right? So I had a one-on-one with the seller. The seller was like, yeah, I'm motivated. I'm going to do me. I've been in the Navy. I'm going to support my command 100%. However, personally, I really don't want whatever it is that they pushing for me to have.
Yeah.
Which means that like they would kind of be able to like fully engulf in the TAD with us because they want to do that more than they want to do whatever it is the parent command want them to do. But the parent command still want me to do it. And I had a conversation with it's a senior seller that's in retirement, ain't going to be in the Navy too much longer, kind of got their everything kind of set up. But a good seller still, right? So I had a conversation with the seller's chief and I'm like, yo, like, I'm going to be honest with you, this is what it looked like, man. Like your seller going to support everything y'all want to do, boom, boom, boom. But y'all not really definitely like eye to eye when it comes to like this decision-making process. And I'm like, so some of that for me, right? And it's just me talking, man, some of that shit is on the seller. Some of that for me, right? It's like, it's your decision. I had to do at a command that was like, yo, I don't want to be a works in a suit. And they made me make him a works in a suit. It did. They also made me fire him like 3 months later because he sucked. And I'm like, yo, he said, he told y'all he ain't what, like everything ain't for everybody. So like all that, it's going to be some hard chargers and they going to get that. And now if it's like quals and stuff you need people to get, but if these people don't want their ESWAs, bro, they don't want their ESWAs, man. ESWAs.
What we're not going to do is act like we don't have an uptick in mishaps because we keep pushing people and signing off on things that people really aren't interested in. They're not retaining the information. And now we have incidents. So I don't know.
And esports used to not be like this thing that everybody had to get, man. And I wish it was kind of still like that. So if somebody want to just do their job, right? I see if they like causing a detriment to the command of the organization. But in my thoughts, if they just want to do their job, just let them do their job. Man, we talked about this. Me and Damon talked about this like 2-3 years ago, and my idea still ain't changed on that. So let them do their job, man. Everybody ain't an EP seller.
Well, okay, let's talk about senior sailors though. So let's talk about in the Chiefs mess, because like this sailor is telling us that it's senior personnel that they're concerned about, right? But in the Chiefs mess, you know how
they ain't say that though.
I thought I saw that. Let me go back. Senior nukes.
I think we assuming it. Oh yeah, senior. Yeah, they are senior and rate nukes.
Yeah, that's what it says. So
yeah, you're right.
Like, okay, so my take on this, because a lot of people come to my command to retire. A lot of the Chiefs, they're getting out, but we still have to get programs ran. We still have a season to do. So as a season lead, I have to motivate my Chiefs and senior Chiefs to actually get this stuff done. And most of them are on their way out. And they're like, Ash, we don't want to do this. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. And because of the connection that I have made with the individual person, I can say, do it for me, bro. I can't do it without you, sis, type of thing. And sometimes that goes a long way to make somebody actually want to go the extra mile. They're not doing it for an eval bullet or to be recognized. They're doing it because, you know what? I want to help. I want to help the team. I actually like these people. I want to help them out. What do you think?
I mean, how hard is some people going to probably be mad at me or whatever, but how hard is it to run a committee, like a season committee?
It's not hard, but people don't want to do it. Let's be real. Like they're like, I want to get out of the Navy. I don't want to do this.
I think the hardest thing about like running the season as a season lead is the fact that people don't want to run.
That's it.
So
teeth trying to get y'all Chiefs to do something.
Yeah. So I feel like with the Chief thing, man, and it's crazy because I hate having this conversation like in this context, but it's cool. I feel like with the Chief thing, when do we ever stop kind of giving back, right? So that was like, that's some of what like people tell us, like, yo, make deposits, don't make withdrawals, like make deposits. So that's some of what we hear when we going through our seasons. You know what I mean? So when I took that, like right now, like even like the way my leave structured at my command right now, because I'm supposed to check into my new command in September and check out of my command in August, I'm trying my best to stay around for this. And it's looking like it's going to be times I just can't make it because I got to go to school. But I'm trying my best to be somewhere during the season. I don't even know why we transfer during the Chief season, to be honest. But especially in the CMC spot. But again, I'm tenant command stuff, so it don't really, like I wouldn't have been running it anyway, but I'm trying my best to like be somewhere that I got a place to land at during the season and not in between two commands, right? So, and I'm going to do that till I'm gone. I'm going to do that till I'm out of the Navy.
Yeah.
I don't see like a time to take your foot off the gas when it come to that, because the only thing I ever think about is when I was a Chief Select and like every chief that like invested their time into me, you know what I mean? And I owe that shit. And I don't know, man. I still kind of got the fairy tale outlook, I guess, with some of this stuff when it come to being a chief. But I owe that to everybody that come after me every single year. I'm never quitting the season, ever. Like,
ever, yeah.
It's times where I might not be able to be at, like right now, like being a ice installation CMC, like the last season that went by, I wasn't able to be as invested as like some other chief that was like always there every time, because it's really like things I got to do as an installation CMC. But when I try my best to make an impact, and each of those chief selects would be like, yo, Mass Chief, we had a conversation about this. He told me this. He dropped the Drew here. I wasn't able to be like when I was just, EMC. You know what I'm saying? So I just, I don't think you should ever quit on like the Chief season.
And a lot of us don't. Let's be clear, because our brothers and sisters are watching. I'm not talking to the like 85% But for the few that are getting ready to retire and that's where their focus is, sometimes they do let off the gas because they feel like they've poured in so much and given so much, and now they might feel like they owe something to their family. So I that's how I'm taking. I'm not bashing you guys who that's how you feel, but that might be where they're at right now, and they're not wrong.
Yeah, I just disagree. Like, yeah, they ain't wrong.
Yeah,
I disagree with it though. Like,
yeah.
not for the family aspect and all that, but it's like 6 weeks and like let's give what we could give, right? So, and I'm only specifically talking about like if you run a committee,
right?
If you run a committee, like it's not like I don't see like when like you running the season right now, right?
Right.
So you ever like talk to like, all right. So when I was running the season, somebody that was a season lead was a committee lead the year after I was running the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they was like, they called me one day and they was talking like they didn't know what to do. Like, yo, you was a season lead. You was a season lead last year. What you mean you don't know how to do this? You know, so, and then a lot of times when it comes to committees and like we won't go too deep into like the specifics of the season, but sometimes when it comes, like, let's say I'm the
training lead.
No, I don't want to go training. I want to go something more ancillary than training. Like, what is it when you go volunteer? What is it?
Comrails.
Comro lead. Like, so let's say I'm the Comro lead. Let's say we get 3 to 4 Comros in the season, right? I gotta 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna do 1 to 2 kind of joint Comros with another mess, right? So that's easy work. Like, I'm gonna reach out to the other mess. We gonna collaborate. We gonna come up with 2 Conroll ideas. Then 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna do, and I've been a Conroll lead before. And then 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna do a couple Conroll. I'm in San Diego. I'm gonna call the Midway. Hey, can we come on the Midway? Can we clean up the flight deck? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, you could do it. They love to do that, right? Then I'm gonna find another one, a soup kitchen, somewhere like that. Boom, we done. We done fed homeless vets. We done cleaned the Midway, and we done collaborated on a Conroll. My job is done.
Yeah.
My job, training lead is a little bit more heavy-handed.
You basically one of the season leads if you're a training lead.
The people that do orders, the PT, couple stuff like that is a little bit more heavy-handed than Comrail. Even to me, the khaki ball ain't really. It activates at the end of the season. Like, you have a plan, you pay for the plan. That kind of activates at the end of the season. You do the things that I'm gonna kind of stop naming certain things, but the things that happen in the beginning of the season, it's like one time. It's a committee for a one-time event. Some of these committees is for one-time events. Like,
that's facts. But they don't want to see. Regardless, though, I've had people quote, "I got 292 days left until I retire." Bro, come on. And sometimes they just have given all that they feel like they can give, and it just takes that reminder, like, hey, this is not about you. It's about our replacement, and we got to train them up and get them prepared to sit the seats. So.
Yeah, like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I was talking about when like Master Chiefs, when people make Master Chief. And I'm talking about like right before, like it was a time, like it was, I forgot what happened, but it was a time like we was right at the season and somebody made Master Chief and they gave up their committee. Like, yo, I made Master Chief, yo. like I don't need this.
That's
you know,
right.
and it's like, it's not about what we need. It's about what they need. Like,
that's it.
Lex. You know, with the people we coming up, it'd be great to have a Master Chief running this committee. It'd be like, we all Chiefs, right? And that was kind of what we thought, it was, right? So I don't know. I got my own personal kind of like thoughts when it come to like all that, when it come to volunteering for the season and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I think we make things way harder than they have to be. And I think it's because we get so used to delegating. I see it with myself, like as a CMC, like when it's like, yo, no, Dabo, you got to do this. Like, you got to make this like, damn, yo, ain't nobody that I can like be like, yo, I need this. Like, that was so me to sit down and do this.
Yeah.
I be, man, like sitting in front of a computer for me nowadays, Ashley, man, I be gas. Like,
you hurting.
Yeah, like even like the people in my office, they know it. They be like, yo, you hate, and I used to love paperwork. They be like, you hate paperwork, CMC. I be like, it's not really, I hate paperwork. I just want to move around. What's up?
I said 50% of your job now is paperwork all over again.
Yeah.
Like maybe more.
Nah, not me. Not yet. Maybe at my next command when I had like 200 sellers or something. But not Not for me yet, but it's going into them systems, my Navy assignments and all that. But yeah, I just like I said, I think we get so caught up in delegating that when it's time for us to finally do something in the committee, it's like don't nobody want to do nothing, and then the season start. I'm gonna shut up about the season because
we're gonna get off the season, but in general, staying motivated at the end of your career. Like I only have, like the sailor said, these people have like 18 months left, and it's hard to keep them motivated. And the bottom line is, at this point, they might just be letting their foot up off the gas. If they only have 18 months left in the Navy, what are you expecting to be able to motivate this grown ass person to do? They've probably already done it, so I would focus on the up and comings. You know what I'm saying? Not saying let them off the hook, let them do their job, but let's train and develop the ones that are still coming up. Our second class, first classes, they can work too.
Yeah, and then taking your foot off the gas, Ash, is natural. Like when the end is in sight, is no matter what you either gonna hit it, you're gonna do one or two things. Normally, from what I've seen, you're gonna give it like a burst of energy and finish strong. Are you gonna pace it because you can see that end is in sight? So and a lot of times in the Navy, we do start to pace it because you like normally when you first check into a command, you gas like your foot is on a gas, you going straight. And you kind of start to coast when you start to get what you need. But when you in a leadership position, it's never really like coasting because you got sellers to lead and stuff like that. So when you finally start seeing a little bit of the exit, it's a little lighter. Like, your steps are a little bit. I'm close to that at my command. Like like your steps are a little lighter, and your give a fuck factor is you care less of a shit because you about to roll. Like you know what I mean.
And hopefully I hope you done train somebody. I really hope it's somebody that's coming up behind you or behind that other person that's leaving that's ready to fill the shoes. Or else what were you doing? What were you really doing? Let's talk about that for a minute. People who like to hog the job and just hog it and make themselves like, okay, I'm the go-to. I'm the only one. I can't even take leave. If I'm not here, everything's going to fail. Like, what's up with those people? Because that could be a part of the problem. Let people fall back so we can see where we need to focus. Where do we need to turn our attention and train? Right? Yeah. Where are we missing some qualifications? We might need people at their 18-month mark to start pulling back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think like people should focus on other things. Like as the tenure, it's like sports, right? Like you come in, like basketball, you come in, you got all the moves, you aerial, you could dunk and all that. But then as like, you're looking at like Kobe, for instance, like when he got like longer tenure in the league, you start focusing on that jump shot, getting open. Like it's just something different that you focused on. So if I'm in my last like 6 months, I'm trying to just pass on whatever's left that I might not have gave out yet. And then just helping out where I can and rolling out. And hopefully I did enough in that division and I'm thinking like E5 now, Mo. Hopefully I did enough in that division for my guys to be like, yo, dog, you done enough, man. Chill out. Chill out. I in my last week, give me all the checks, yo.
Yeah.
I remember people used to do that. Yo, give me all the checks. Put me on a 13-week report. I don't know how familiar you are with this, Ashley, because you're a yeoman. But like in the technical rate, they be just put me on a 13-week report, man, for the last week. I'm gonna do all the PM. But really, they about to just gun deck and like they can't get caught because they leave it a command. Yo, give me all the checks, yo. Yeah. But hopefully we gave from something from that question.
We tried our best. That's sincerely how I feel. I don't try to force anyone to do anything that's outside of their motivation or what they want to do. Yeah,
they nukes.
I don't know.
Yeah, they nukes. They about to get that money. So
yeah,
here's one here's one right here. Here's another question from somebody. It says, "Good afternoon. I was reaching out to get some mentorship. I'm kind of at a crossroads on what I want to do in the future in the Navy. I'll be finishing my degree shortly. I'll be graduating with a bachelor in communications, and everyone is pushing me to drop a OCS package and commission. it's definitely something I've considered before, but I truly don't know what that side of life is like. I was hoping you could shed some light on that side with your experience and perspective working with JOs through your career. Looking back, is that a pathway you would have took? Can JOs still be working with their sellers on the deck plates? And then he said, for reference, I'm looking at SWO, SUPO, and PAO. Very respectfully, a motivated seller.
Well,
And yeah, I wanna start off by apologizing first because I've been holding this one for a minute, just trying to get the right setting for the conversation. I think just us two, we've been having like 6 people on, 4 people on. We have a lot of people on, so I think just with us two, we could go through that. And I deleted the question already, so I'm not gonna remember much about what he asked.
What's wrong with you, Demo?
I did it by mistake. So he pretty much asked our experience with officers, with JOs, what kind of light can we shed? And then he also asked, have we ever tried to do it before?
I have.
You did? What happened?
Yeah. So I did a LDO like 9 years ago. And then last year I put in a CWO application.
Oh, you did it last year, huh?
I did it last year. And so record was stellar. Discrete requirements met, all this stuff, but I was not selected. It wasn't for me that year. But what about you?
I did it before. Yeah, I did it. We talked about it on a podcast a while ago. But I did it. Yeah, I did it. I did it when I was a first class. I was still working on my degree. The year after I had graduated, and I did it again the year after. But I never submitted it. So
why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
The day of submission or the day before submission or whatever, it's something you got to do like about your security clearance or something, right? So the day of submission or the day before when we get back from a shock trials. We went to Florida for shock trials. We stationed in San Diego. We went to Florida for like 3 months, 4 months or something for shock trials. I'm TAD on this ship. We get back from Florida. My wife, who wasn't my wife at the time, was my girl. She was coming. She came to Cali from Philly. So she was going to be there when the ship got back. So my package was pretty much done. And the last thing, they was like, hey, go run. I was with LCS. They was like, hey, take your package and go run to get your security clearance stuff done to the squadron building. And it was between that and seeing my girl. And I chose to see my girl.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what. So
do you any regrets?
No, hell no.
Yeah.
But I got checked though. But what about my old Cheg who he because he did he pushed the whole process.
Yeah.
He checked me years later though. I was like, I was the EIL. He was like a part of like ATG or something. And he's a big dude too. He's like, hey man, like whatever happened. I'm like, he was like, but then he looked at me and he was like, man, he was like, you still good though. You landed on your feet. I'm like, of course.
Yeah, of course. And I honestly, the warrant officer community. So I did the LDO thing at that time. I'm a first class, and maybe I didn't have the right mentorship, but I really wasn't connected to the program like that. Blew my appraisals out of the water. Everything was great, but I didn't get selected. But then when I was going for the warrant program last year, the outpouring of mentorship in the warrant and LDO community, the admin community, it was astounding. It was like something that I had never experienced in the Chiefs mess. And that's what really motivated me to really see that process through. Because I was like, y'all really believe in me. Like, these people are really pouring into me. And I just had mentors piling on. Like, I would get introduced to one person and then they would send me, and I would go all around to people's offices, sitting down and with people for lunch. And it was just a really good feeling. So the feedback that I received regarding like, when you become an officer, do you have to disconnect from the sailors? The feedback that I received as an administrator is you don't really ever disconnect from the sailorship portion. You always gonna be mentoring and you're always gonna be pouring into sailors. So for my community, it works out. And with my personality, I'm not disconnecting from the sailors. I'm one of those chiefs that I just love the sailors and they know it. But I think the number one thing that you have to digest is you have got to let your chief. You know, so for those who are going LDO, maybe you never got to become a chief. But when you become an officer and you have a chief, you have got to allow that chief to do what they are supposed to do, which is run that work center. It is nothing worse than having an officer in your office that want to be a chief and y'all just keep clashing.
Yeah. So you talked about your appraisals. Like I said, we shared this story on a pod like a long time ago, but you talked about your appraisals. I did a couple. I think you had to do like 3, right?
3.
So I did 2 of them that went amazing. Like one of them was like with a dude like off base, like just I found somebody in the area. I drove to him, like all types of stuff. The other one I forgot, but I know it went well. But the other one was with my director at the command that I was at, who I loved, and I felt like he loved and took like great care of me. Thought I was a hot runner, and like, you know, I just thought I was good in his eyes. So that's the one I just knew I was going to crush. Like, I'm like, yo, I'm with Commander Yarborough. Like, I'm a killers. Man, they took me and wherever they took me at, man. And they ran through me, man. Like, it was not good at all, yo. I left that, yo. Like, I left that joint, like, yo, what am I, you know,
What?
They asked me, yeah, it was bad. Like, I was answering all, like, just regular. Yo, they did a whole role play. They did the role play. They like, yo, because it was him and like some other LDO. And they was like, yo, so you coming to, they was like, you come, and his brother from Chicago. That's all I would say, right? He's like, so you coming to your shop, first time. And, you know, the chief like, hey, look, you could just sit back and chill. I got this. You don't got to do nothing. You know, there's like, what you going to do about it? It's like, what you going to do about it? They was like, chief on the phone. You know, I'm like, well, you know, like, how chief on the phone if we on the ship? Chief on the phone. What you gonna do about it? And then I'm like, well, you know, and the dude like, I'm the chief. I'm chief. What you gonna say to me? What you gonna say? But it was like, it was straight up like in your face, like in your face. Like, and like, I was like nervous. I was young too. I was a younger first class. So, and then they were like, so then they was like, they also did another one. They was like, are you, and that, so after they like put me through the grinder, right? Everything they said to me was the hardest question I ever got in my life, right? So after they did all this, they was like, are you ready to be an officer in the Navy? So then I'm like, can I answer that? Like, you know, I'm like, I'm trying to be, cause I could be kind of anal and when it come to words and all that stuff too. I'm like, well, you know, can my answer breathe? They was like, no, you got to give one word. You got to give one word answer first. You got to get a one word first.
Yeah.
My one word was no. I'm not ready. Right.
Okay.
So I was trying to be, now remember, this was years ago.
Yeah.
I was trying to be humble. And plus, they just tore my ass up. So like, I want to be like, yeah, I'm ready. Like, after they tore me up like that, I'm like, so my answer was going to be like, I'm not ready, but I'm going to do everything and read everything and learn everything. Because I didn't know the career paths, the tracks. I didn't know none of that stuff. Like, what's the career path for like an electrician, engineer? None of that. They're like, you got to know all that. You trying to be an officer, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm not ready. And then that wasn't the right answer. I was wrong about that too.
Yeah.
I was wrong about that too.
Always, yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. So they got me up out of there, yo. I got escorted up out of that joint. Hey, the one thing though about disconnecting, I'm on the same page as you, man. Like you only disconnect if you want to disconnect. That's not, if you're a motivated seller that don't want to disconnect, then you're not going to.
Just not going to. Who's going to make you even?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see it in like, we see it with command triad leadership, right? You see COs that's not disconnected. You see COs that are disconnected. You see CMCs that's not disconnected. You see CMCs that are disconnected. It's not a part of the job to be disconnected. It's a choice. And that's on you as an officer too, right? Like as a JO, most of my JOs wasn't disconnected from that. I don't even know what that means, honestly.
Yeah. I've not seen any of the Mustangs just cross over and just lose their connection with the sailors. I haven't really seen that.
Yeah. And I think that's like I could be wrong, right? So, and I hope it's a young sailor that could tell me I'm wrong. I think that's like a myth, though, that officers are disconnected from enlisted. Because every ship I've been on, every command I've been to, well, more so, let me say every ship I've been on, officers and enlisted like had fluid relationships. Like it wasn't like, yo, it wasn't like, damn man, I wish I could remember the name of this. It's like a movie about a train that like on one part of the train, like everybody like real rich and elite and they eat good food. And then in the other part of it's called Snowpiercer. It wasn't like Snowpiercer where like the enlisted are like in this area and the officers and they don't like intertwine.
Or like Titanic. Let's do Titanic for people who don't know that reference.
Yeah, like everybody been people know Snowpiercer actually. Trust me, PTSF. Snowpiercer, I'm telling you, But we didn't seen the JOs stumbling back on Liberty drunk, from the same club we was at. And maybe, had a laugh, had a joke with them while we was out, or some people did more than that, To me, it's no, we work together. You got your divo. I never had a divo that I had to like reel in. Like, yo, you need to connect more with the divo. I never had a divo like that before.
Okay. Yeah. I've not had many divos. I've only had 2. So currently, and then when I was on the DDG, I had a divo. But before then, I never had one.
Yeah, I love my last divo was a woman, and she was strong, yo. She had a strong personality. Well, actually, me and her actually got into it before, and it was based off of like a confusion about a name. It was 2 chiefs with the same name, and she was like, yo, go. And I was kind of new to my ship, so I didn't really know the other chief with that name, and but it wasn't bad, and I wasn't wrong either, right? But we kind of had a quick little, boom. But outside of that, and again, she's dope. She was great. But outside of that, like me and my divos, I would call these guys friends. We keep up with each other. I sent one of my divos a picture of me and Amari, a video of me and Amari telling them happy birthday. So like, I had great relationships and great connections with my divos. Yeah, I mean, that's what we supposed to do, right?
In the perfect world, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we supposed to do.
And I think,
I'm listening to you.
No, go ahead.
No, because we always do that, like training JOs and like it's like such a. And I have a hard time pinning down like what makes me successful. So I would have a hard time explaining like the relationship between me and my JO, like if I had to be linear and map it out. But like I've always had great relationships with my JOs because I respect them, and I treat them like I feel like I treat them like I treat everybody else. You know what I mean? So I consider them. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I think it just depends on the person, right? It depends on the 2 individuals. You can't, just like you can't pick your family members, you can't pick the people that you work with. Sometimes it's going to be a gelled relationship and the communication is going to be great. The energy is going to be great between the 2 of you. And then there's going to be situations where it's just not going to work. And I've seen it go both ways, right? But at the end of the day, as long as the respect, you mentioned respect, the mutual respect has to be there. And I think that's the baseline for how chiefs and junior officers can work together.
Yeah. So to respond, so to kind of respond what you just said, right? Yeah, you're not gonna like everybody, right? Like personally, you're not gonna like everybody, right? So then the question is like, do y'all have a shared goal, right? Do y'all got a common goal? If y'all got a common goal, then y'all got a connection there, right? Y'all might have a different way of getting there and a whole bunch of other stuff that y'all might have to kind of work on. But if y'all goals are aligned, that's a start. And then you still might not personally like the person. It's a lot of people, and I'm kind of getting more and more in the understanding of that. Like everybody not going to like me personally, and I'm not going to personally like everybody, but damn, do we share goals? And if we don't, then that's when we need to sit down and get into some type of alignment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think sometimes also it's, you know how you said you had a diva that was real strong? Sometimes it's that personality. It's that alpha type of presence. Yeah. And when sometimes you have two of those in one setting, and then there should be more conversations had in those type of scenarios, because misunderstandings can happen fast when it's two people that have a vision and the way they want to do it.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Like just two strong people. Yeah. Like, I want to do it like this. I want to do it like that.
Yeah, then that should be shining through. It'd be bleeding through at quarters. Y'all both saying something different. Y'all both saying something different to the seller. I think a true alpha, like you can maneuver. Like you could, if you a true alpha, you elevate up to like puppet master level. That's when you a real. Like you could be the alpha that want to be like on stage, or you could be the alpha that want to be behind the camera. Or that want to more so orchestrate, right? That takes a lot of time, and that takes a lot of learning about like where you want your ego, right? Mm-hmm. So you gotta like suppress your ego. So I would consider myself to be an alpha, right? I would consider myself to be an alpha. Sometimes I don't even try to be an alpha. I try to go in there and be low key. Yeah, I'd be like, if it's like a Bruce Willis movie, like, yo, I tried to just be low key. I just wanted to chill. Yeah. And then here y'all go making me take over. You know what I mean? Like, y'all making me. So, and I've worked with other alphas, but it's like at a certain time, like, it's like, yo, you got to let them have it. Like, you got it. Yeah, I'm going to get mine. You're going to get, it's like when you got, again, another sports reference, when you got like Dwayne Wade and LeBron, like, you gonna get yours, I'm gonna get mine. I don't gotta try to get yours though.
Yeah. Yeah. So my experience, and I've told you stories, Damo, through my entire career, it's always been someone secretly compete with me. It's always a secret like competition that's happening. And that's from the beginning until now. And I know I'm an alpha, right? I don't show up like one all the time. I can be quiet. I can go along with what everyone else is saying. I can, influence more so than tell people what we're doing, right?
Right.
That's where the connection comes from. I like to connect with people to get that done. And my ability to do that, it really bothers people. And I'm not making this about me. I'm wondering if you have experienced that as a true alpha who doesn't have to state that they're an alpha. Do you feel like sometimes people are in this secret competition?
I thought it was, man, this is about to sound crazy. Again, we had a conversation on this podcast before. It was like, I was a new chief in a mess, and I went in there just steamrolling. Like I was taking charge of things. Like and one is, a lot of it is like, I wanted the experience, because one day I might have wanted to be a CMC. So I wanted to like experience everything, right? It wasn't like, yo, I want this, I want all this just so I can put on my eval. It was like, I want to learn all like the inner workings of like all of these programs, because one day I want to lead a command and be able to speak to people. But so one of the chiefs who's a dude I'm cool with or whatever, he was like saying like, yo, you got everything, you're doing everything, you're taking everything, boom, boom. But it was like in a talking shit kind of manner, And I remember getting frustrated about it. No, not even being frustrated. I was supposed to take over Eastwise. And I went to my CMC and I told my CMC like, yo, I don't want it, man. And he was like, why? Because such and such said such and such. I'm like, nah, I just don't want it. But he knew that like that was why. He was like, hey man, like these people just hating, right?
Yeah.
And now I don't really look at it like hating though. I look at it like people want to bring you to wherever they are. Like, so they want to bring you to their pity party. But then it's like, if you bring me to, like, if you pull me backwards, we're not progressing. Like you can't, like, you can't, you can't pull me back. You know what I mean? So it's been times, Ash, I'm gonna be straight up. It's been times I've been so far like away from people that like I didn't even have time. It's Dr. Dre said it in one of his songs. He said, "It's not that I'm too big to listen to the rumors. It's just that I'm too damn big to pay attention to them." That's the difference, right? So like, it's been times I've been so like just like just blinded by just me trying to have the best interest at heart for, you know, boom, 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 that I ain't never even think about it. I had a chief come up to me before, and he was like, "Yo, why am I?" And this is normally what I get. "Yo, why are my sellers talking to you, but they don't talk to me about that?" That's normally the one I get. Because the work ethic shit, I've maneuvered most of my career without having a kid, so I think that was like a cheat code. Like, and somebody could like easily look and be like, "Yo, Damo, like he doing a million things," but it's like, yeah, he also don't got a kid at home. So
don't have a kid. You are the best sailor. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So that was a cheat code. But the one I would normally get is like, "Yo, why they coming to me, but they not coming to you?" And it's like, "Yo, bro, it's because I got a connection."
It's
you
a
know,
connection.
so yeah, so I don't. I blinded. I like self like a while ago. I think after that conversation I had with that CMC a while ago, I just blinded myself to like letting people dim my light. I blinded myself to it because I'm super self conscious. Like I think about everything and all of that. I've been like that, but I'm growing out of that because I don't care. Who cares?
That part.
You know,
Dama. Heavy on I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's talk about I don't care. Let's go into that. What do you mean? Because somebody will say, well, yes, you do care. You think about it. You considered it. So you must care. What do you say to that?
I'm getting to a point now, though, that, man, I ain't been coming up for air long enough to care. You know what I mean? Like, and plus, my recipe, you start to learn that everybody got a different recipe, right? So let me go into talking about like my quarters, Ash. So like when I used to run quarters, and you know the DLCPO or somebody would be like, and this is my man too, so shout out to my man. But the DLCPO would be like, "Yo, I'm gonna come to y'all quarters." And it be a time that I'd be self-conscious about that. Like, man, he gonna come to my quarters. And the reason why I'd be self-conscious about it is because I do things different. Like I just do things unorthodox. Like I don't do quarters the way that I think he think that it's supposed to be, right? So I'm thinking about that in my head, right? But same DLCPO listen to the pod. You know what I mean? Like every week. So he know the way my brain works. You know what I mean? So I think the podcast helped me with that too. Like it helped me understand that like I'm not as unorthodox and different as I thought I was. So I could care less about like what people think. And plus, Ashley, this way is working out for me. This recipe has worked out. Like people have had these burgers and said they was good. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, you got good burgers too. you got good burgers too, but they're your burgers. You know, these my burgers. You know what I'm saying? So that's me. What about you?
You know, I couldn't have said it better with the whole recipe thing because I'm always thinking to myself, like, what I do is for me, what you do is for you. I'm not right and I'm not wrong. You're not right and you're not wrong for however you do whatever you do. Right. Yeah. So I approach leadership completely different. Like I'm one of those senior chiefs that people will probably look at the way that I interact with my sailors and be like, that's too comfortable or that's too familiar. Yeah. Well, you know what? It works for me. It works for me. My sailors, they trust me. They'll come to me before they'll come to anyone else, you know, and other people's sailors as well. So I've found that that's the way that I can lead. And there's no disrespect. There's never any disrespect. I'm going to give respect and they're going to give me respect, not because I'm senior chief, but because they know I care about them. Right. So that's number one. And two, the way that I do things, I do get a little self-conscious about it because I notice other people might be more strict or more, you know, have more boundaries in place. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm doing this too loose or maybe I'm not, you know, militant enough. But at the same time, I feel good about myself and about the accomplishments of my sailors at the end of the day. That's really that's what drives me. So I have people that'll tell me I'm not good enough, like literally present day. I'm not good enough. I'm not this. We don't know why you're a senior chief. The ugliest things. And when I tell you it rolls down my back, baby, I don't care. So when you say you don't care, I'm like, it's not that I don't consider what people think, right? Not caring doesn't mean that it doesn't get into my head and and I don't think about it.
Yep.
Yeah, because you know what? Somebody, the realest people, they take the feedback. If you want to call yourself real, you got to take the feedback, right? So I'm one of those people where I don't really focus on how somebody said something. You know, somebody may tell you something, they might be all aggressive and stuff like that. I'm the person that's sitting there listening and I'm dissecting everything that you're saying. So it's when I say I don't care, it looks different, right? Because I'm going to listen to you. I might even ask you follow-on questions, even though I'm knowing that the information you're giving me doesn't resonate and it's not true. Yeah. I really am more interested in why it is that you think that way because I'm learning something about your perspective. Now I'm learning a different way to approach you. Now I'm trying to find a different way to connect with you, right? Because everything isn't going to work for everybody. So I care enough to assess the feedback and assess myself, but I don't care enough to make it change me and who I am at the core and what I think about myself. So my confidence really is buried deep. You can't touch it. You can't reach it. Right. Yeah. And I'm so confident about myself that I don't mind changing my approach. Not who I am. I just don't mind changing my approach with you. Because guess what? My goal is for us to get the thing done. That's my ultimate goal.
Yeah, we got to share a goal. Right?
Yeah, I don't care about what you think about me because I'm going to be me. But maybe there's something, I might be blinded by something and something that you tell me I might need to take into consideration. So when I say, I just want to be careful when we say we don't care because that's really how you feel, right? But deep down inside, we do care enough because we're leaders and we know that at the end of the day, if we don't care, nothing will get done. And we're those type of leaders that can't afford to tune out the information. We have to receive the information to be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, it's been dudes that hit me up with this. And certain dudes, I take consideration of what they had to say. Like even about the podcast. Like, yo, y'all could have done this different, done this. And they know it. The ones who know it. Like, and shout out to them. Y'all know who y'all are. But it's dudes that have hit me up. But I wanted to share you a story about something I did recently that I don't think I've heard of done. I'm sure other people did it, but I don't know. So I had a seller come up to me. And for context, I'll just say she was an African-American woman, right?
Yeah.
To help, because a part of the conversation was about feeling like she was being discriminated against, right? So that's a part of the conversation. Some of my thoughts didn't have nothing to do with that, right? I didn't think that it was discrimination. I thought that it was just the way the kind of cards fall sometime and like, let's look at it through a different lens, right? So she, very hard charger, hard worker, really good seller. Went up for sale at a quarter. It's funny because some of these stories be so damn like so specific. but like, hey, this was like 6 commands ago. Went up for sale at a quarter. And was like, yo, I didn't get it. And I'm upset that I didn't get it. I deserved it. Boom, boom, boom. So I just so happen to have the notes, the seller of the quarter notes from the first classes, the Chiefs and everything like that. And her and the seller she went up against were pretty much neck and neck, but his boardsmanship was like the best of the day. Like out of everybody they boarded that day, his boardsmanship was far and away like better than everybody's. And he answered all the questions and like everything else. So he boarded better than her, which kind of like at the end of the day made him edge her, right? He edged her because he boarded better than her. Instead of like giving her this vague like reasoning thing, I pulled up the score sheet and like read the quotes. I'm like, hey, you know, And now, and when I'm in my head, I'm like, yo, this could be good or this could
go
this could go bad. But I'm like, and so I read it and just showing how it was like, yo, best board of the day, best board of the, and I was like, hey, he just boarded better than you, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, and I think it paid off well because she knew the difference in that board. The next board might go a little different, but I never had like a CMC explain to me why I didn't get. It ain't too many sellers. I never had a CMC explain to me why I didn't get like something. Like sit down and tell me why I didn't get it. Then come to find out, I go to the seller that did get it like sometime later. And he's like, hey, CMC, man, thanks for like giving me that crash course on like how to like do a board. I'm like, I gave you a course? He was like, yeah, remember like during the CDP, you told me how to sit and be at attention. He was like, I think that paid dividends for when I did my board. I'm like, it did. It did pay dividends. I forgot we had that. But, you know, the thing I did that I thought was unorthodox was that. And I told one of my chiefs, I'm like, hey, man, she came to me. I was like, I pulled up the grade sheet and pretty much, well, I didn't show her the grade sheet, but I pretty much read verbatim the comments on the grade sheet about the person that outboarded her. And, you know, Chief was like, yo, he was like, I totally understand why you did it. He was like, it's not something that I've seen before, but I totally get why you did it. But that's me. One thing I say about myself is I'm transparent to a fault. Like, I think full picture just makes for like better. Like, it's just better if people see everything, yo.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that. I first of all, I've never seen that done. Secondly, wow, that you thought to do that, to give that to her. Because how many times have we seen where the first classes that are up for board don't get selected and they want to know, they want feedback. Right? So we know that that's a thing that people want. And you were emotionally intelligent enough in that moment to not allow that sailor to just go down a rabbit hole of I'm being discriminated against. This isn't fair. And you say, you know what, let's actually just put it into perspective and I'm going to give you the facts. And sometimes that's the difference between a sailor who is that. When we talk about motivating sailors, let's go back to that. Let's go back to that because you could have lost that sailor, right? It could have been a moment where it's just like, dang, I'm sorry to hear that happened. And if that did happen, I wasn't here. So I don't know, but you know, but you were able to show that sailor something and that probably not only changed their perspective, but gave them motivation to do something different next time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was super dope.
Yeah,
I like
yo, thanks.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
I just need the board better. And then, maybe it's something else, that come up next time. So so I mean, I think we got to that. I think we touched everything. We talked about being disconnected. We veered off a million different ways, but we talked about our experiences with JOs. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I always had great experience with JOs. So I never really had no complaints about that. All right, I got another one. Let me find it. Let me talk while I'm trying to find it. It says, this one from a Master Chief I know too.
Okay.
Says, good morning. I was hoping you could ask your audience a question. As you know, I do not make my sellers write their own awards. I only request the information for the 1650 and then provide the write-up. My chiefs and first classes do the same. They write their sellers awards. I have left my last two commands letting my leadership know I would not write my own EOT. That's what's up, bro. He says, what is the audience overall opinion on this matter? Should sellers be writing their own EOTs? So it's a question for the audience. I'm going to give my own answer, which we spoke on this podcast about before. I think hell no.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. You want me to go into it or you want to go into it? I'm so sorry.
No, you could go into it first.
As an administrator, I have a two-sided opinion about this, right? So I've been writing my own awards and evals since I was a seaman. Right. Since I was YN, but that's community driven. But when I became a leader, I put an end to that. I take input and then I write the recognition. That goes for Sailor of the Quarter recognition, whatever of the years, end of tours, all of that. As a leader, that is on us as a recognition and a thank you for that person's effort, right, during their tenure. So I don't disagree with this CMC that's saying, if y'all don't want to recognize me, then you're just not going to recognize me. But I'll give my input and you do the award. You know,
Right, yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Same. And we just talked about this like 2 weeks ago, so I ain't going to get too deep. But like, I think awards should come with a little bit more prestige than just, I've been working on this for the last 2 weeks, like my own award. Like, I just don't, that takes some of the, like, yo, I helped write my own LOI before, yo. And that took the magic out the LOI. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a dumbass who needs corrective, like remediation because I don't know anything. Like, it took some of the steam out the LOI when I got it. Like, oh yeah, thanks. This is my product signed by my commanding officer. Thank you. You know what I mean? So I feel the same way for awards though. On the other hand, like, why I gotta fire? Like, because then what if you don't get it? Like, then you didn't wrote your own award. Now it's this whole thing about how the command don't want you. Like, they should come, in my opinion, as a surprise. You know, and I tell sellers that have a running brag sheet. I mean, I ain't gonna say they always listen, but I say, hey, have a running brag sheet. So if somebody ever asks you for a brag sheet, it's ready. You know, you ain't gotta give me a day stressed out now. You got checks to do. You got a spot check, but now you gotta do your brag. Just have your brag sheet ready. Write down what you do on your phone every day. So I'm this like quadrupling down. I'm quadrupling down in the point that I don't think sellers should be writing their own awards ever.
Period.
Right? Yeah.
I don't see no need to go. Yeah, that is an easy one. Why? What are they writing their own recognition for? Do you know, did I ever tell you the story? When I was up for Sailor of the Year, I was at, well, we don't do command. We don't say the name of the command, but I was in Bahrain and I was up for Sailor of the Year at this point. And my chief was like, yeah, go ahead and write your package. I'm going on leave. So she had started it. Like all she did was like put my name on it and stuff. But then she really wanted me to go in there and fill all the stuff out. And first of all, my chief went on leave. I'm the only person in the office. I'm working. I'm not worried about that thing. So long story short, I didn't do it. I got to it when I could, but I didn't get it done by the deadline. And I got a counseling shit. Sure did. I wish I could say the name of this command. I've been on this show before where I've complained about this same command. This is the very, and I got a counseling shit from the CMC. The CMC wrote me a counseling shit. And while my chief is still on leave, and I'm calling my chief like, the CMC is giving me a counseling shit because I didn't turn in my Sailor of the Year package that you were supposed to be working on. I didn't even care at that point. That's what I mean when I say like from every step of my career, I've had people just doing the most when it comes to me. But I still won Sailor of the Year. Sure did. I still won Sailor of the Year. My package was late, but the officers and people who really wanted to recognize me, they were like, nah. And the skipper, more importantly, was like, we need her package. Yeah. So my chief ended up coming in and getting it done, but I still got that counseling shit.
That's wild. Yo.
It is wild. I can't believe that.
I feel like a slumlord when I see my sellers working their own packages. If I hear I was writing my eval, I feel like a slumlord. Like, what am I running here? What type of operation am I running here, man? Like, you should not be writing your own joint. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, period.
This one right here, this one was kind of funny. Kind of close to like present time. It says Juneteenth is tomorrow, and I check into my new command. I'm leaving A school and fly in tomorrow. What if getting the barracks room is unavailable because it's a holiday? Then what do I do? I'm already renting a car because the command is 2 hours from the airport. Need help. When I say it's funny,
I know you lying.
I'm not saying it's funny on account of like the seller. I feel bad for the young seller because they don't know what the hell is going on.
Poor thing.
It's funny because this should not be none of this. Well, let me get into another story real quick before we get into this one, Ashley. They got the Facebook groups, right? So I remember we sent one of my sellers TAD. When I was an electrician, we sent one of my sellers TAD to Norfolk to go to school. And don't you know, like, we saw like the Facebook post in like the electrician group, and she was like, hey, I'm stranded in Norfolk. I don't know what to do. You know how embarrassed we were? Like, yo, call us. Like, you making me look, it's like people about to be like, yo, who your chief? Like, who your chain of command? Like, how come they not taking care of you? Yo, call us. So, but back to this one. So it says the seller checked in Juneteenth, flying in tomorrow, leaving a school. They not sure if a barracks room going to be available because it's a holiday. They renting a car. They driving 2 hours from the airport and they need help.
Oh my God. It's just so many. Like in my mind, I'm just like sponsorship, admin, who's the chief? Like what in the world did we not connect with the sailor at all? And then if I'm going into, so as an administrator, if I'm going into a holiday weekend, I'm looking at my game list, right? I'm looking at my PGs are supposed to be checking in from the day before until we get back. Mm-hmm. And my duty and then I'm like, what's going on with the duty section? Because how we do it, we're going to hand over a stamp or we're going to hand over some stickers for gains. So that when people are checking in over the weekend, the quarterdeck can put the stamp on the order so that they can take it over and check into the barracks.
Yeah.
I think that the failure here was just simply sponsorship. I'm going to start with sponsorship and then I'm going to go blame admin.
Yeah, you might as well keep going up. Might as well just go up higher.
I'm going to go, listen.
The command. The command.
You got a sailor coming in and the airport is 2 hours from the airport is 2 hours from the command, and we don't have a duty driver. I know there's a duty driver. I know that there's a sponsor.
I know some of these, it could be an event where like somebody coming from a school and they got like these real quick orders, but it should be a sponsor, right? You should have a sponsor. Somebody from your division should have reached out at some point. I remember as a EM1, I would reach out to all my, tentative gains, all my prospective gains. As an EMC, I would try to connect with my, like after they get the welcome aboard package, I would try to connect with my prospective gains just to kind of give them that. This seller doesn't know anything that's going on. They don't know nothing. Like these are all like these easy ass answers. And we got like a young seller just worried about what's going on at a school or going to be in an airport, worried about what's going on. These ain't none of these answers hard. Yeah, you should be able to get a barracks room. Yeah, and it don't matter.
Did the sailor reach out to you, Damo? Or is this like...
Hell no. I got this from Reddit. Okay. No. If they would have reached out to me, I'd have answered them. And you should be fine.
On Reddit, God bless.
Yeah, I got this. Yeah, they put it on Reddit. They want the Reddit. Okay.
So I'm going to take it a step further. What's going on over at that A school? Like what did they send? They just sent the sailor to the airport?
Yeah, they need a transition.
And just send him on his way. Come on.
Yeah, they should have a transition sponsor or something, right? Yeah, like somebody that's helping these young sellers know what to do next.
Yeah, they just dropped that baby off at the airport and said, see you later.
Yeah, bye, man. Yeah, so I mean, and all of those are easy answers, right? Like sponsor program, chain of command, division, all those are easy answers. Like it should be quick. Take care of your people, man.
Yeah. Damn,
that was the last of the Q&As, Ash.
Okay, look, we did that, I think we got through that well.
Yeah, ain't no more Q&A. I guess my Q&A for you would be just, it's funny because you kind of brought this up, but I'm like before we started podding, but it's just a natural question of mine at this point. It's like, what's where are you right now in your career?
Oh, well, yeah, that's a real question because I am 2 years from my EAOS. And so the decisions are here. So at this point, my thought process is just preparing myself for life. Like I've poured so much into my career and I've given so much of myself to, developing myself on my career. And now I'm asking myself, like, what does Ashley want in life? And that's what I'm focused on now. So I've come to feel like sometimes, and especially at this level, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn when I say this, but I'm just keeping it real. When we get to this level, sometimes it just feels like it's a carrot being dangled. Like, oh, if you want this, you gotta do this. And if we're gonna give you this, then, do this dance and perform like this. And I'm just not here for it anymore. I have really sincerely given my all to the Navy. I've given everything that I had for the last 18 years. And now I'm a senior chief, and I feel like I'm being treated like I have more to prove. And I'm not proving myself. I'm just not Damo. I'm here to keep it real. And it might not be the popular thing to say. And someone may see this and feel like, well, dang, you did it. You came this far, and now you don't want to push through to the end. And that's not the case. I want to make clear that I am still committed to the mission and to the sailors, and I'm going to do what it is that I have to do while I'm here, but I'm not here to prove myself to anybody. I'm not trying to be a part of nobody's good old girl, good old boy club, and sometimes that's what I feel the expectation is. Yeah, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, one part that I want to make sure I kind of got. Are you at all in any of this conversation, you talk about making 9 at all? Okay.
I have not said that.
Okay, so you're not talking about making 9. You just more so talk about relationships.
Yeah, that's because honestly, I have never just done something to get a promotion.
Right, yeah.
Everything that I have done, and my record, it speaks for itself. And I've had people in my leadership downplay the things that I've done. And when I say my leadership, I mean from second class up through senior chief, downplay the effort that I've put into things and tell me like, oh, you're only doing it for this. That's why you're successful. No, I'm successful because I'm blessed. I'm successful because I care. I'm successful because I'm not chasing anything and I'm not stepping on anyone to get anywhere. I come to work and all you're going to get who I am. Yeah. Right. And I feel like that's the key to success, is not trying to make something happen for yourself, because when you do that, you lose sight of the people. Yeah. You lose sight of the connections with the people. And I just feel like we're in a time where we're losing the connections. We're losing sight on what's best for our sailors. And at the end of the day, when sailors come up to me and they tell me that they want to flag their record and get out, I tell them, congratulations. I'm not one of the people that's going to try to shame anyone like, oh, well, do you have a plan, and nitpick them apart? No, I'm going to, talk to them and make sure that this is a decision that they're really making for themselves, because at the end of the day, make that decision for yourself. Do what's best for you, baby, because you cannot wear the uniform for the rest of your life. I mean, well, you can, but that's if you never mind. You basically one day you have to take. I was about to go real morbid. I was going to go real, but no. One day you have to take the uniform off, and you have to be good with who you are when you take this thing off. Yeah, I'm gonna be good with myself when I take the uniform off.
Yeah, for the young sellers that be listening, man, that rat race don't ever stop either. Like it's always, and everybody not running it. Like you saying, you're not running it, but like just watching other people run it. Like even in the CMC round, is people that want to be flag, or want to be this, or want to be that. And I be seeing people, man, and they, and I'm not talking about everybody, right? But I see people just period in the Navy. That's, man, you at the end of your tank, and you holding out for something. Like you're holding out for something. And I remember having a conversation with somebody I respect a lot. I'm not going to say their name, but I remember having a conversation like, yo, like, why are you like losing like pieces of yourself now for this one thing? Like for this one thing, and it don't define you. It don't define what you did. It don't define your impact. It don't define who you were. It's just one thing that you want. Like, so that rat race. And I wonder, like, what motivates people to like, but I think it's the rat race that motivate people to be like that. But like you just said, when you aiming for something, you do lose a little bit of that like connection, because you want this thing so bad. Like, and like I could be wrong. So for the historians, if Aaron listening, like, I don't think like George Washington, like sought out to be like, the president wasn't even in office. Like the way George Washington got selected, they were like, yo, this dude is a stud. Like that's pretty much what they said. Like, yo, this dude is like back in the days, I don't know what words they used to use, but yo, this dude is a hot shot. He's a stud. Like he's the man we need. We want the run. He looked the part. He got the height. He got everything about him was what they wanted to be. And that's like, I I'm not going to get into the merit-based word, but that's like well-deserved. Like, like, let's give it to this guy because we see it in him. Not, all right, so now that he done it, now it's a blueprint. So now the next person going to try to do it. Like, it kind of takes the genuine aspect out of it now when you just doing something because you saw somebody else do it. Then you're going to do it how they do it. It takes like, And some people do check the boxes. Like it's just not it's not like almost everybody you talk to career wise is something that got to do with a check in the box. Like, yo, how do you, like, what do you, and I even tell people like, yo, as you're like, especially a junior, I was talking to one of my junior seller mentees recently, you know him, and he's like, yo, when I get to my new command, I want to bring this group together, do this, do that. He was like, I was listening to pod and, you talk about how, this don't matter and, whatever. And I'm like, I talk about how that don't matter. But for you and your rank, it does matter. Like, unfortunately, it does matter. Like, it's a rat race. And you could be out of it, right? Or you could be in it. But like, for your rank, you gotta be a part. You have to engage in the rat race.
Yeah,
like you just have to. You're trying to make rank. You're trying to do like and I hope that don't sound like morbid, but
yeah,
it's a system in play that you have to be a part of as you go up to a high enough rank to then say, I don't care about that. I'm gonna do it like this. But it is you got to make it there. Yeah. Like I mean, that's my opinion. I could be off, but
with that, no, first of all, you're right on track. But then secondly, who says you have to do it anybody else's way? Do it your way. Like no one could ever dangle a carrot for me. It was nothing no one could tell me that was going to make me do anything more or different from what mattered to me. Because if I don't care for real about something, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be my best product.
Yeah.
So, I got to care. When I say care, I mean, like, so even as a second class, I was leading the JEA or in the NWR or giving things like that. I would do the things that actually mattered to me, that made me feel good, that I knew that because I cared about it, I'm going to give my best performance. I'm going to put my best foot forward in this. I'm not going to raise my hand to be the DAPA coordinator or something that doesn't really, I'm not committed to that,
Yeah, but you were in that. You were in the ring though. You was in the ring. You wasn't out of the. Yeah, you was in the ring. Yeah.
But but my point, the message is do it your way.
Bring yourself to, and that's that's pretty much, it's crazy you touched on that because that's what I told him. Like, hey, don't stop being. You got to be you, but you in the fucking ring. You're not out of the. You're not like me. I could be out the ring. Like I'm out the ring, dog. Like you know what I mean. Like I'm in my own fight, but you're in the ring, bro. Until you are able to. But do you in it? Don't take everything. And that's what I told him. Like grab something that you can make impact with, right? That adds value to you and that you. And that's what I tell everybody. Like no engineers want collaterals, right? None of the engineers. Like no engineer want to be part of the.
That's
true. Chief petty officer. So every time I'll go to the first class meetings and I hate the first class meeting. So like none of the engines. So this is what I usually tell them. Like, yo, all of them things that you hate about it though, like why don't you like go in there and make recommendations to fix it? Why don't you add and some of them dudes be like, their attention to detail I'm like, yo, look at your attention to detail doing these spot checks. Or doing whatever it is you're doing. Why don't you take that to the max? Why don't you make it better from all the stuff that you hate or whatever, right? Like add some of yourself or, with all of that attention to detail you got, that might be good for working with the semio, putting together focus groups and, putting together stuff. Why don't you take that skill and leverage it here? You don't got to do stuff just because the Navy's telling you to do it or something like that. Do it because you want to do it, but add value somewhere else. And sometimes I tell them, and I'm going to shut up. Sometimes I tell them like, hey, the rest of the sellers deserve you. You know, not just your division, not just your engineering space. The rest of the sellers deserve your leadership, your brain, your ingenuity, and everything else you got. Find a way, you know. So now you kill two birds with one stone because you impact sellers, but then you also get the visibility that you need without like forcing it. Like, yeah. You get that visibility.
And it's meaningful. You feel good about what you did, and you mean it.
Yeah.
I tell everyone that find the thing that really matters to you and do that. And then another thing, and this is a big one. Don't try to be in the spotlight for the hell of it. I love to put people on, right? So after I've done something or I know that I have been successful, I'm going to give the blueprint. I'm going to bring somebody else in. Share the wealth. Everybody can eat. I just cannot stand competition. I don't compete. I tell you what, if you going to try to trample over me to get somewhere, baby, I'm going to step back. So I encourage sailors, especially in that second class, first class, y'all are cutthroat at that level. Just let everybody can eat. You know, I've seen first classes fight over, I led this and I led that. And then this person turned around and tried to lead it over there and started over there, but they got it from me. Yeah. Good. Guess what? Like, feel like, who cares that no one knew that you started it over there? Like over there, they're doing it now. You know that you were the blueprint for that. Don't you have self-pride? Like, don't you motivate yourself when you know, like, okay, I did that. And no one has to pat you on the back. You just knowing in yourself that you are that girl, that guy. I don't know. That moves me, but I'm different. I've always just been that way.
So nobody ever made you level up?
Oh yeah. You got to respect that person, right? For me, if I look up to you, if I admire you, I love the people that tell me I ain't shit. I love the people that, like, the ones that I know are telling me, like, for me, I've got people to this day that'll call my phone and be like, you was wrong. First of all, that's not how you're supposed to do that. And I listen. To those people.
Yeah, but like, not even that though. Like, you ever saw like somebody ever been just good? Like, and it's good enough for you to be like, this motherfucker killing it, man. Like, let me stay on my game and like just motivated you to do good.
Yeah. I love that. So not that it's not a competition. Yeah. It's more or less like, dang, like you really motivate me. Like you got me wanting to jump in and do things. And that's more or less how I correlate when I see somebody on their shit. I just be like, me too. I'm gonna do that.
Feel good too. It feel good. Like I was telling I love cocky sellers. Like, and that's a different conversation, right? But I love a cocky seller, man. Like let's go.
Yeah,
I'm cocky too. I can do it too. Let's do
what's
it.
your sign? I don't know if you're into zodiacs and stuff like that, but what's your?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Okay, you're my boy. No, so okay, so. What I've noticed about the Sagittarius, I'm not trying to be all crazy, like, you know, and go all into it, but most of the Sagittarius I know, I connect with them deeply because y'all are the go-getters. Y'all are the ones that have the plan, right? And then, so I'm an Aquarius, so I'm an air sign, right? So I'm laid back, you know, I'm not trying to be in the way or whatever. So it can be easy for me to come off as nonchalant, but it's so hard to be nonchalant around Sagittarius because y'all's energy is so high, right? So to answer your question, you say you ever see somebody and you're like, usually it's that person that's high energy that actually like gives a fuck up, like and those are the people that I'm drawn towards because I have a lot of vision, I have a lot of ideas, I'm good at planning.
Yeah,
and y'all are good at executing things, and so when
just
you pair those types of people together, you get the best outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it just be momentum too. Don't let the momentum die.
Mm-hmm.
The momentum die with us, and like, I don't want to get too deep zodiac, right? But that momentum die, we got to move on and find something else that's going to give us the momentum. That's just how we move.
You know that is so true about y'all. Like you said, we ain't trying to get too deep into it, but the Sagittarius will move on real quick.
Yeah, that's how we move.
Yeah.
We got momentum.
Yeah.
All right, let me get into this book, right? I actually got it for the listeners. It's been a while. It's funny. Aaron asked the question. I'll ask you the question. That's how we'll close.
Okay.
But I'm gonna get into this book. It's called Tupac Shakur, the Authorized Biography by Staci Robertson. I think it's from 2023. Amazing book. I damn near cried today. Right? It's an audio book. I was listening to it. I finished it today. I damn near cried at the end, because they talked about the time, like from when Tupac was shot. So it took Tupac 7 days to die, right? So they talked about from when he was shot in Vegas, and they detailed the 7 days, like the last conversation his aunt had with him after he had the heart attacks, and his mom saying like, no, don't do that to my baby. Like, cause they were going to try to bring him back again and all that. And she like, don't do that to my baby. Let me go and talk to him. And they, give him blessings or whatever like that. It ended very sad. And then like the last part, I'm not gonna get too deep into the story because it's Tupac, y'all. But he was 25, which I've known that, forever. But he was young as hell. And his mom said he lived the perfect 25 years on this earth, right? He lived a full life. Like Tupac got a legacy that will never be erased, right? From the movies, Poetic Justice, Juice, Gridlock, from Bulletproof, whatever. But from like all his movies to the albums, All Eyes on Me, Me Against the World, Machiavelli, like all like, and he was just, and his voice, man, how strong his voice was, how much his voice carried, like just to be like, his voice don't, even when I listen to him today, I don't hear a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
Man, like I hear like somebody wise beyond their years.
Very wise.
I think one of the hardest parts of the book was just hearing everything he wanted to do. Like from wanting to open restaurants to wanting to have like these youth baseball club, like just everything he wanted to do, just knowing that he wasn't able to accomplish it. But also kind of having a feeling that he would have been able to accomplish everything he wanted to accomplish if he stayed here a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Pac was, and it actually motivated me to kind of like start working on, I got a book I want to work on. Actually kind of motivated me to start working on a book because it's like, you never know when that day comes that you just, you just know. He knew he was going to die young, but you really don't know. So why don't you just get everything you could get done while you're here, And yeah, that was, Tupac was he was a fashion icon. He was he had from the relationships with Madonna to like all that. So he's a music icon. He was doing film stuff. He was a political kind of like the Black Panther stuff with his mom. Like he checked so many boxes and just. And really like 7 years, because I'm going from like 17, like probably like 18 to 25. So it took him like 7 years to check all of those boxes. So the book was amazing. I think everybody should read it. They'll learn a little bit more about Pac and just how he came from nothing. And, that happened. It's kind of so sad that the dude died really over nothing. He thought he was going to die for a purpose, like be a martyr or something like that. And maybe he was. Maybe it was to like kind of like make people understand this rap stuff ain't as serious as we taking it. Maybe that is the message because it was a while after that before we had major like hip hop beef rivalries that caused death. Now these dudes, these neighborhood rappers, killing each other now. Like they ain't even made it off the block yet. They killing each other. So it's a little different. But yeah, that is a real good book. I'm gonna give it. It's a hip hop book. It's hard for me not to give a hip hop book a 5 out of 5. So I'm biased when it comes to hip hop books. So 5 out of 5, and it got me listening to Pac again. So I loved it. All right, so this is the last thing. We could close with this. Aaron had this question for me, and I ain't really want to answer it. So I'm going to ask you.
Ask me. Okay.
It says, when did you buy into the CPO creed? Have you, and do you feel it's relevant?
What, Dama, why you didn't want to answer it? I'm going to answer it.
I have an answer. I got an answer.
Okay. So you haven't answered yet.
Yeah, I haven't answered yet, but I got an answer though. I just ain't like that Aaron wanted to ask me. He's put me on the spot.
Dang, that's how I feel. I feel put on the spot. You didn't even prep me for this. Okay. When did I buy into it? During season, I bought into it. I was really heavy on everything. I drank all the Kool-Aid that they were serving.
Mhm.
And it didn't take long for me to quickly like see that everybody wasn't on that type of time, right? So what was the second part of your question before I go too much into what I want to say?
It was, have you bought into it? But you answered it, I guess. And then it says, do you feel it's relevant?
I don't think as a mess we're keeping the CPO creed relevant. And that's just honest. And I don't want to, I really hate the way that I really feel about this question. And I don't want to answer it like 100% how I feel. I don't want to ruin anyone's magic. You know what I'm saying? I really want, especially with leading this Chiefs season, I want my future Chiefs to come in and be hungry and motivated and come in here and, you know, do the thing. But right now, I think that as a mess, we have a lot to work on. And I think that as far as living up to the CPO creed, I think we have a ways to go.
Yeah.
I think we have ways to go, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, so one thing I want to say is like the way it starts, it starts less of what I would think a creed to be and more like, because it starts at like right at like acceptance. Like it starts like,
yeah.
Like when you at your penance ceremony, like during the course of this day, you have been caused to humbly accept challenge and face adversity. So it's written like in a perspective of like, well, to the perspective of a select who just went through the season.
Yes.
Right. So the most that I've connected with this, right, the height, you know, and not to say I'm not connected with it now, but the height of my connection to this was, honestly, it was the season before my season. When I thought I was going to make it. And I watched all my friends go through, and I went to their ceremony and heard it. And I saw them, and they were hoarse, and they were crying, and they were and I felt that. I'm like, damn, yo, I know they feel it. And then the second like highest I felt was when I went through my season.
Of course. That
next day when it was red and like, yeah, I did feel this. I did go through this. I did go through that. I'm gonna say this about myself. I don't attach myself to like symbols or things that, and it's just me, right? It's a part of my thinking I'm unorthodox. I don't like to associate myself with symbols and things like that. The creed symbolizes something. And I'm not saying that I'm not attached to it, but just personally, my personal like persona, I just don't attach to these things. So a lot of this stuff in here rings true, and I could connect with the words in here, and it's really good stuff in here. But to me, it's written to that perspective of somebody who just made chief. To me, it's not written to the perspective of it says like, for instance, your new responsibilities and privileges do not appear in print. That's not like, that sentence, the way it's structured, is not necessarily talking to me. It's talking to somebody who just put an anchor on.
Correct.
If it was talking to me, it would just say your responsibilities don't, you know, and then the other sentence start where it says your entire way of life is now changed. My entire way of life been changed since, you know, I made chief. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that, yes, I connect with it and all that. I'm not going to say I don't connect with it, but I just don't think it's written for a seasoned chief. I think it's written for somebody who just came out of the, who just went through the season. I think that's what it's written for. So, yeah.
But okay, got it. And I agree with you. And I think that was intentional. But when I say like, I think we have a long way to go, I'm talking about the seasoned chiefs. I think that when we first get our anchor, we drink the Kool-Aid. We are in there trying to pick up every collateral. We got our hands up for everything. We're on the deck plates. And then somewhere along the way, we get our division. We get in there. All of the issues and all of the things start to happen. And we kind of just get lost in that, I think we get lost in everything that's going on with our sailor, our family, our division, the workload, the CO's expectations. And it's just like, okay, I'm supposed to be a fountain of wisdom, right? So how do I let that be known? Why am I not hosting trainings? And why am I not walking around and sitting down with sailors? And why am I missing CDBs? Things like that. And I think it's just the nature of where we're at in the Navy when it comes to like manning. This generation is a little bit different, and the mission is changing. And so like what it meant to be a chief when I made chief is a little bit different than what it looks like to be a chief right now for me.
Yeah, it's like not a lot of, it's not a lot of space to breathe, right? It's not a lot of space to just like autonomously, like, like to be the full picture of what that creed is. So I want to read, it says a creed is a set of beliefs or aims which guide someone's actions. So reading through that creed, right, it's a lot of things on there that I definitely believe in. But like you said, shit be in a way. Like, you know, like I remember going to my command and was like, yo, I'm going to be the all-knowing chief that's always, it's like, man, as soon as I got there, like something was happening with this sailor. I ain't had time to learn this and do that. So, you know, it's a lot. And if you do, and I always say, if you do everything that the Navy asks you to do based off your job description, man, you be working 78/7. Like it ain't even enough time in a day.
It's really not. It's really not.
Yeah, so I feel you on that. So I'll say that the creed is relevant. I'll answer it like the creed is relevant. I said when I bought into it, but I mean I think that I think we should probably recite it more. I think we should probably teach ourselves to it more, not just chief selects, and maybe figure out if we could update it somehow or add more to it. And I know they talk about this often as updating a creed, and it's been updated before, but and then just make sure we holding ourselves to that shit, you know?
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that as far as I smell food, like my wife cooking or something.
What's she making?
I don't know, but it smelled good. It smelled like some type of chicken or something. But hey, Ashley, it was good catching up with you, man.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I always love to come on, and opportunities to guest host with you are top tier. So have me back sometime. I'll come on back. Yeah,
let's do it, man. Let's do it. I wish I need a sign off. Like I'm trying to get a sign off, but look, this is what I'm gonna do for us. I'm gonna do this for us. I'm gonna do that.
Watch how you fucking talk.
My bad. No, my bad.
No.
My bad.
If you do that shit again, it's gonna be a problem. All right. So you can do that. You can take that however you want. I'm happy to have a peaceful conversation with you. What you're not gonna do is talk like that. You understand?
I yield. My bad.
Yield.
I yield.